This is a series in Hearing the Voice of God, and I want Louis Twigg to share his testimony of how hearing the voice of God changed his life, changed the direction he's going. And all this came about because I prophesied over his wife, and then we got together and started talking and counseling. And this is probably one of the best testimonies I've ever heard of hearing the voice of God. So, Louis, tell us a little bit about what happened before. And
what happened before in my career. I went through being a basketball coach. You lose, you're hired to be fired, so you're going through many, different job losses. And it was a point where I lost my job, and I was extremely low. I was probably at the lowest point I've ever been in my life.
Okay, so tell me, when we got together, what job you were in, what was going on?
I was selling medical devices. It was a situation where my wife really pushed me to come and speak to you. I know you spoke to her. You spoke to her many different times, and my wife really encouraged me and told me to go see you. And after several different times, you should always listen to your wife. And so I decided to meet with you. Actually, it was on January 10th of 2017.
Oh, wow. I didn't remember that date. That's good.
Yes.
Okay, and tell everybody what we went through and the process of things that happened.
The process and the transformation was amazing. It wasn't one of those things where it happens overnight. It takes time, it takes energy, and it takes a focus on the Lord. He's the only one that can really change anything. And I'm so happy that He used you and your knowledge and wisdom to share with me to not only help myself, but to be a better husband, a better parent, and a better employee. So it's been an amazing journey with God. And like I say, it happened on January 10th, in which I was one of the lowest parts I could have been in my life.
Okay, tell the process of hearing the voice of God.
So the hearing the voice of God, you told me to go and just have a quiet place from anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes, and just to listen to see what God was saying to you, and really just settle yourself, make yourself still, and to really be in tune to all the things that God was telling you. And you have to discern what is from the Lord and what is your thoughts as well. Because there's so many times that the devil will tell you negative things, and you have to ask yourself, is that from the devil or is that from the Lord? So that was the start of the process.
Okay, tell, I want to hear this again. Tell me how you became my best student.
You know what? I listened. I'm a firm believer in, if you really want to make a change, you have to go to people who know the process, who've been there before, who've done a lot of counseling and is really good at their craft. And I just listened to you. You would tell me to sit down every day and listen and write about what God is doing and what God is telling you. And I did that every day. Every morning I would get up. In the mornings were the best time for me because it's my family. I have children. It's just the easiest time to get up in the mornings and to do it. Everyone has to find their own time. The morning time was my best time. Like for my wife, her best time is in the evening. So I would sit down and I would listen and do everything you asked me to do. And it was to the point where I didn't have any other options. I was at the point in my life where I had to listen to someone because I had to have a change.
Okay, tell everybody about your dream and your dream job.
Well, my dream has always started. I've always wanted to work I wanted to work in the NBA. I wanted to. I've always loved to coach, and that's God really put it on my heart to travel and to really work in the NBA. I started out as a dream just to work in college basketball, and I became a college basketball assistant. And then my dream kind of transformed to wanting to work at the highest level, which is the NBA.
Okay, and tell everybody about the I don't want to use the word process, but how you got to this job and everything with that.
Yes, no, it was one of those situations. God is amazing, and I'm just recalling the story. I was selling medical devices, and I was actually involved in an opportunity to work in the NBA, to go to Singapore, to go to China. And I just couldn't take my job in the medical device field anymore. It was extremely stressful. Being in operating rooms and having that responsibility was overwhelming for me because I'd never been trained to do it, and I didn't really want to be in the medical field. So that was very overwhelming. So one day I just prayed about it and prayed about it. Not one day, it was over a probably month period where I just prayed about, is this the right thing? And I came to the conclusion that I just didn't want to do it one day. So I was in there with my boss in our office, by ourselves, and it was the right time to say, I just don't want to do this anymore. And so I quit. So I gave him a 3-week notice, because that's what my job detailed. So I gave him 3 weeks notice. And on the day that I quit my job, on the last day was my last day of working in the field, I received an email from the NBA asking me to go to China on the next day. It was a Friday morning. I remember my last day was on a Thursday. On a Friday morning, I woke up to this opportunity to go to China.
And tell us what happened, your experience with going there the first time.
Sure. The first time I was all set to go to China, and apparently someone backed out of running a project for the NBA in Singapore. So they asked me if I could go to Singapore and run a project for them a few months earlier. And I was really excited about it. So I was in Singapore for 2.5 months, and then I was in China for a month as well.
And tell us, originally, how long were you supposed to go for?
I was only supposed to go for 1 month. And it turned into 3.5 months.
So how good is God, right?
Hey, God is amazing, and it's a journey that has just enriched my life. It's just not about the end point. This is something that I'm taking with me throughout my life, and I can always feel that if I haven't sat down and listened to God and build that relationship, I feel just a loss, and I feel an emptiness inside where I'm like, this isn't right. I want that feeling. I want to be close to God because I want to be doing His will.
So tell us what's happened since then and how things have even gotten better.
One thing is just been amazing that no matter where you are in the world, I was in Asia, halfway around the world, God is still with you. He's just not here with you in the States. It's not just wherever. God is with you at all the time. And even when I was in Singapore, in China, I had that special time with God, and it really built my faith and my relationship. And when I came back from China in October, everything went really well, and the NBA actually had a full-time opportunity in China at an NBA academy. And so they actually asked me if I'd like to have that position. And it was the easiest job I've ever gotten in my life. He called me up and said, hey, I think you'd be a great fit to be a player development coach at an NBA academy. And I accepted the job. It's only 5 academies in the world. And the NBA, they only have 3 employees at each one of these academies. So you're actually 1 in 15 people in the world that do that particular job.
Well, I like those stats.
Yeah.
So this whole journey, tell me what that's done for your life and the impact on your family too.
Oh my gosh.
Tell about your kids and everything.
It has been just a great impact for my wife. To start praying together, to start listening to God. Because if me personally, I have to listen to God to do the small things, and then I'm hoping to be able, that will transfer into listening to God for the big things as well. And I sit down as a family, we will sit down and do a Bible study, and then after that we'll sit down and have some quiet time to listen to what God's saying to you, and we'll write that down. And then when we're all finished, we'll all say, hey, this is what God told us. And it's really amazing to hear what God says to children. because God speaks directly to them, and it's amazing how, and especially one of my daughters, how she can really speak to what's going on in my life as well. So it's just, just an affirmation that we are doing the right things, because it's so important. I just don't want to do, what I want to do for my life. I want to do what God wants me to do for His kingdom, and that's so important to me. It's not about basketball. It used to be about basketball, and the longer everything gets, I really have time to reflect. I really feel like God took that away from me because I was too focused on it. After 14 years, God said, "Hey, you're not focusing on me," and He took it away, and I'm very grateful for that. And no, it may sound very weird, but He took away my career, and I'm very grateful for that because He made me so much of a better husband and a better father, and just everything has been so much better. And on top, He did bless me with a great opportunity to work, in China, and in my dreams. And so the impact has been unbelievable. But sometimes when you're in the darkest parts of your life, it's the most important, because God is with you no matter what. You're not there by yourself. And so sometimes it's not, why did God do this to me? It's like, what is God getting me ready to do?
Oh, that's great.
And it's so important. It's very important. I wouldn't have traded this opportunity, and I really feel like it was an opportunity to get closer to God. I could have went the other way, but only by God's grace, I really wanted to get myself better, and it was because my wife has been an amazing woman. When God gives you a life partner, man, she fits me better than any person in the world, and I know that because dealing with our lifestyle since we've been married, I know that she's the only one that could have really, really, helped us and dealt with everything.
Oh, cool. So I wanted Louis to share this because what happens is you teach somebody, then it comes back to you in a great way. He shared a word he had for me, which just happened yesterday, which you don't know yet. And so when you sow into somebody, you get to reap too. So I just wanted to share this testimony for somebody else to be able to profit from what's happened with Louis. So just thank you for listening. Bye.